Today we're drawing Sonic the Hedgehog. These are the basic shapes we'll be using to construct Sonic. Let's get started. I'm going to start with a circle, large circle, and a smaller circle. From this large circle, I'm going to draw out his large hedgehog hair shapes, just like that. Now, if you notice, the middle shape is larger than the other two, and these lines all wrap around that circle. Next, I'm going to find the center line of this circle, just like this. I'm doing this to define where the very center of his face is going to be, drawing it very lightly so that I can erase it later. I'm going to follow this line and draw his nose and mouth shape. I'm following this line, drawing a half oval to that center line that I drew, and then I'm going to dip down and come back up for his cheek until I have a shape like this. It's kind of like an elongated bean shape, if you notice it. Now, let's work on his eyes. His eyes are very unique. I don't know if you've ever noticed this or not, but they don't touch in the middle. What I mean is they're not divided in the middle. His eyes are basically a visor, which is a very unique design because there's no separation. And if you were to create Sonic today, that would probably not be something that they would use. But that's his design. I'm going to draw two ovals for his eyes looking forward. Draw his ears, which are triangles. That one's a little too low. First, I'm going to draw his eyebrow just above that line where the opposite side of his eye shape is. So I'm coming out of that circle and drawing a little bump right there, and then just going to lightly draw a line on that side and that side. Gives me a little bit of an eyebrow indication. Now I'll come in and draw his ear just above that and just above this. Triangles, indication of an interior and exterior, just like that. I want to draw his nose, which is a bean shape right there. I'm going to go ahead and shade that in, and it's this shape, bean shape. Cheek line, I'm going to erase the lines that are inside this part of his mouth and draw a curved line. Doesn't touch the other side. Comes all the way down to the very top of that line, the bottom line of his mouth shape, cheek, nose area. Now I want to work on the shape for his body. The shape for his body is very fun. It's a circle with a small circle cut out of it. So I'm going to come down here, define that circle, and then I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, and then cut part of that out. Do you see what I did? That gives us one more ridge for his hair spikes on the top and his tail right there. I'm going to go ahead and do his legs. I'm going to come down and draw a curved line coming out of not quite the bottom, but almost to the bottom for this leg. And then on this leg, I'm going to come out and draw almost an L shape for that leg. For his shoes, another bean shape. And this bean, the front is larger than the back, which gives dimension. Just like that. And then I'm going to come in and add the top of the shoe. Round it up the top and then back to the back. And then he has socks, because you can't be running in no socks. Right? He has a white stripe on his shoe. And then if you notice, I'm going to draw the shape of the interior of the shoe on the bottom, and then I'm just going to do lines to show that it has texture on the bottom. Like that. Now on the back, similar. However, I'm going to start with his sock and then loosely draw his shoe, and it curls back. The back of the heel is smaller, the toes are larger. And I'm going to go ahead and draw his sock. Draw a dividing line to show the sole of his shoes, or the bottom, and then that white stripe. Now his socks I'm drawing like this. Let's say his leg was straight. Do you see? Kind of gives a little bit of a fold. And if you draw that three-dimensionally, it would look something like that. Do you see? Now I'm going to draw his arms, curved line out from his shoulder, like this. Comes in between last of the three hair spikes on his head and just above the one on his back. He wears gloves, so I'm going to draw an oval for the top of the sleeve of the glove. And for now, I'm just going to draw a circle for his hand. I'll come in and add details in just a minute. Now his other arm, he's going super fast. Straight out. The cuff of the sleeve, and then the other hand, like that. They've had some fun with this design, because if this hand was really stretched straight out, you probably wouldn't see much of it. It's fun to notice some things like that when you're drawing. And you can make this arm a little bit longer to match that one, and I may shorten that one in just a minute. So let me erase the line of his back there. Okay, now this is not a tutorial on hands, but we're going to do our best here. We're going to draw a line here in the middle of this circle, which is going to show this line here where the thumb goes into the hand. I'm going to draw a straight line out, and then I'm going to come in and round out the thumb, and then round out the forefingers. And what I actually do here is kind of make it a little more angular, like this. So we have thumb, and then the index finger, and then that leaves room for the other fingers. Do you see that? Now I'm not going to draw those indications for this tutorial. I'm trying to keep it simple. Just like that. Now, let's come over to the other side. I'm going to shorten this one just a little bit. There's the cuff. Loose circle. And there's the same line that I used a minute ago here. Thumb. Index finger. Top of the knuckles and then back. Do you see? Now I'm going to draw an indication that he has a color change on his belly. I'm going to do an S curve here from the top down between the legs. Define some of those shapes with darker lines. Now, before I forget, and this is kind of an interesting detail, Sonic has a buckle on the outside of his shoe. So here, I'm going to draw a rectangle and then fill it in with another rectangle. I'm going to come in and add on this line of action. Do you see this is a line of action, which means I'm following that line all the way back, and I'm going to add a little bit of a swoop. Follow this line of action out, like he's really running fast. Line of action is something we'll talk about in a future episode. There's our Sonic. Now I want to come in and shade him very lightly using parallel lines, shading him on where he's blue. Very loose, very lightly shading. And I'm trying to keep them all in the same direction. I'll do his shoes. And of course you can color yours if you'd like. If you're going to color it, I would not shade it. And there's our Sonic. Remember to like and subscribe to this channel. Also, consider supporting this project on Patreon.